All right, boys, we are less than a week away for the start of the preseason. That means it is prime mock draft season, and we are on for our third mock draft of the year. So we switched up the order, did a little randomization, and ended up in one of my least favorite spots in the draft. Uh, that's number 2 for me. Bud over here on all the way on the left, he has the first overall pick. I got number 2. John over on my right, he has spot 5. And Bobby Digital just surrounded by auto picks over at the 10 spot. Bud, how do you feel about having this first overall pick?
Yeah, it's a good spot to be in because I mean, obviously, you get to pick whoever you want, but there are a lot of people. There is no consensus. Number one, a lot of people are picking. It could be JT, it could be CMC. Some people I've seen drafts where receiver goes first. It's totally possible. Um, but I mean, honestly, if you want to get one of those good, top tier running backs, that's pretty much the route you have to go, and that's probably the route I'm going to go today.
All right, I'll let you talk about it when we get to it. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. You guys ready?
Let's do
go.
it.
Let's get it.
All right. So, if you're new here, this is the last minute fantasy scramble. We do mock drafts and we answer all your fantasy questions during the season. So, let's get this thing going. All right. So, starting off, Bud, the floor is yours.
Yeah, this is a spot that I've been in one of these mock drafts. I've done mocks from all spots. I mean, it's pretty much, I really like the wide receivers here, and it's hard for me to say no to these guys, but I'm gonna go Jonathan Taylor. That's just a no-brainer for me. I've been a manager of him. I have him in Dynasty. He's definitely going to reproduce what he did. The only thing that concerns me is that he's involved in the passing game a little less because we know that Nahim Heinz has been is going to be involved more. That's what the coaching staff has said, and we know that Matt Ryan likes to check down. So I do see him getting some more pass catching, but pure hard runner, young, not hurting. I like Jonathan Taylor here. Easy.
Yeah, to me, I like JT number 1 too. He's just that kind of guy. He's shown he's durable, he's shown he's proven, and he's just one of the easy number 1 picks this year. However, number 2 is where things get a little bit tricky for me. I really like Derrick Henry. I'm also a pretty big fan of Najee Harris, but I don't think I'm going to grab him here. CMC, he is a high upside play, but his durability just scares me. So I think I'm going to go a little bit different direction here, and I'm going to go wide receiver here and pick up Justin Jefferson. So I
like
just
it.
like him right here. It's between him and Chase to me there. So I don't love the wide receivers you get to by the end of the second round, start of the third. So I'm going to start off and basically shore up my wide receiver core by grabbing JJ.
Yep, not a bad pick at all. It's why I was looking at. I was like, man, I'm gonna get JJ at 5, no problem. But you steal that one, so it's okay though. So after that, CMC went. No surprise there. Then Cooper Kupp, so 2 receivers off the board. So I got a couple of good choices. I can make a little bit of a reach on a receiver. Go Jamar Chase, someone who we definitely like a lot as well. And then or I can just go with a solid running back. And I think I'm gonna go the running back play this time. Derrick Henry's up. He's probably a top 3 running back in the league when he's healthy. He's coming back fully healthy. He looks pretty ridiculous right now, so he's ready to go. So I'm going to just go Derrick Henry and just carry me hero RB right here.
Yeah, I like that pick too, John. I think Derrick Henry, it's just a matter of health with him, but we know if he's healthy, then he's getting the rock. His contracts until he's 30 years old. They're going to run him to the ground. After John went Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler goes, Jamar Chase, Najee Harris, Dalvin Cook, and now I'm up here at 10. I was hoping for Dalvin Cook, as you guys know, from my previous our podcast and mock drafts, but he got sniped right before me, so now I actually have to think about options here. I personally do want to secure a running back here within at least the first 2 picks to build my team around. I'm looking at the wide receivers, and I think besides Jefferson or Chase, I think there's a little bit of a drop off there. But I'm going to go with Deandre Swift. He's my favorite running back this year. I think he has a chance to be the running back 1 overall. for a lot of reasons that we've talked about. I just love the fact that he is very explosive and he can take it to the house on any given play. He's bulked up a little bit, so if he can put it all together and stay healthy, because that's really been his biggest issue, I think the sky's the limit for Swift in PPR leagues especially. So after Swift goes Adams, CeeDee Lamb, Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, and now it's back to me again. With Alvin Kamara still on the board, I think we all talked about that too. If it wasn't for the suspension, I probably would have taken AK here. But I'm going to take Aaron Jones. You just look at his splits without Devontae Adams. He's the most trusted skill position player now on that offense. And I think he's going to catch a lot of passes this year. I think he's going to be used a lot in an Alvin Kamara type role. He has the trust of Aaron Rodgers. He's still under contract in Green Bay, so they're going to use him. And so I really like Aaron Jones a lot. I think he's going to be top 5 running back this year.
All right, so after Aaron Jones went Travis Kelce, Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Mark Andrews, bringing it back to John.
Oof, I really didn't want to go second running back here, but I think I'm going to. Too early for a quarterback for me, so I won't go Josh Allen. Again, Kamara, just with the uncertainty, not sure what he's going to bring to the table. Can't really go there. If he was playing, like that's a great pick right there. Excuse me. Deebo Samuel obviously holding out still. Not sure what's going to happen with that. And then we've seen the people who hold out, the players, they definitely come back, not really in full shape, and they do tend to get hurt. So I'm actually going to go a little against the grain here. Going to go maybe a little bit of a reach with a running back who I think is poised to have definitely a solid season. He's young. He just got a new quarterback, and I think little load off his shoulders. So I'm going to go Javonte Williams from the Broncos.
All right. So, oh man, I thought that I had Barkley. Never mind. All right, now what do I do here? This is back to that spot where I don't love any of the wide receivers here. All right, this is a tough choice for me because do I want to go running back? Do I want to go receiver? Let's see here. Who are my choices? John, why don't you explain a little bit why you went with Javonte Williams there?
Yeah, so like I said, I think he's poised, he's ready to go, take on more of that role, the bell cow role. It's going to be a split regardless. But I think with the addition of Russell Wilson, and then Denver just becoming a better team, I think that takes a load off him. So they're not zoning in and focusing on him, just because they have to worry about so much more when you have a true quarterback in Russell Wilson. And then I was almost honestly between Barkley as well, but I just don't trust the Giants that much. Gambling.
Yeah, so I'm going to take the risk here and go Alvin Kamara. Just his upside, and if he does, even if he comes back second half of the season, if he has that big suspension, you know what? He's still Alvin Kamara. He could put up huge games any day of the week, and I think that he's going to have a good year regardless. And if I could hold on to it, if he gets that rumored 6-game suspension, make it through week 7, I'll be happy there. But sure. Josh Allen's on the board.
I was gonna say you are kind of in an awkward spot. Is it too early for a quarterback? Is it too early to reach on another receiver or go to tight end after the top 2 are gone? Tough.
If I get one of these top couple spots, I'm trading out. I'm finding a way to trade.
Yeah, I don't really like this side of the board really. Yeah, this is a guy I picked before in our previous mocks. I'm gonna go ahead and snag Mike Evans now. The only thing that really worries me, and we know today that Tampa Bay might be without their center. He got hurt, but their guards are both new too. So there's a lot of changes to that line, and I don't think Tom Brady would be coming back if he knew that half of his line was going to be new or getting hurt.
So who has the quickest time to throw in the NFL though?
Yeah. So that's also true. I'm looking, and I do like Josh Allen here, but I am not going to go Josh Allen. I'm going to go high volume. This is a guy I've been targeting in some of my mocks here, and I'm going to take Kyle Pitts here. It is a little bit early. I kind of like him more so in the 4th round, but he's going to be getting all the targets. It's going to be him and Drake London. You have a bunch of nobody's been higher than a wide receiver 3 otherwise that's on that team now. So, these guys are going to get pumped with targets, whether it's Mariota or Desmond Ridder steps in. That's the only thing that worries me. We don't have a solid quarterback, but I do like Kyle Pitts a lot.
All right, then here I'm going to go Josh Allen. Get my QB position. Got a running back, wide receiver, QB. Let's go.
Nice, pretty good pick there. After you went Leonard Fournette or Leonard Fivenet, depending who you talk to, and then Justin Herbert as the second quarterback off the board. Puts me in an interesting spot. I can go another running back, but again, like the board's kind of awkward right now with Zeke and James Conner. The receivers, I really don't like them, but I guess like AJ Brown is probably the best one if I were to go receiver. Or I can go Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, which we know I won't do. Kittle and Waller are a little bit of a reach at this point. So I think it's kind of just best here for my team, just to kind of take the best of the rest with the receiver. So I think I'm just going to go AJ Brown because like even in like that low volume offense, like he's an absolute bona fide wide receiver one, like potentially like borderline like the best wide receiver in football, depending who you talk to. So we'll see if Jalen Hurts pans out and he's able to find him. I think that partnership is going to be great, and AJ Brown could very well be like the number one receiver in fantasy football. So after me goes Patrick Mahomes, then James Conner, Ezekiel Elliott, David Montgomery, and we're back to Bobby, who went back-to-back running back. So let's see where Bobby goes here.
Yeah, similar to what you were saying, John, I'm not crazy. It is a bit of an awkward spot. I'm looking at some of the receivers here, and to be honest, I'm not super crazy about them. And I look at the running backs, and there's somebody who I am very high on that is still available, and I know I already have 2 running backs, but sometimes when you're drafting, you want to take the player that you feel is the best available. Even if you're overloaded at that position, you can always make trades down the road. You can always find value later. I absolutely love Cam Akers this year. I think that he is going to he's the guy that McVay ultimately wanted. They trust him, as you can see in the Super Bowl. They gave him the most carries despite him working his way back from an Achilles. And their offense is very solid, obviously, with Matt Stafford and everything. So I'm going to take Cam Akers. I'm going to go 3 running backs. I just, this is how the board fell. After Cam Akers goes Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, George Kittle, T. Higgins, and now it's back to me as well. Also, some interesting decisions to make here. I do feel like I do need a wide receiver. There is a wide receiver, even though maybe a reach I'm very high on. I've drafted him before. It's Hollywood Brown. I know he had a bit of a hamstring issue, but he had that coming in last year, so hopefully it's all good. But look, again, Hopkins is out the first 6 weeks. He has a quarterback now that, unlike Lamar, this quarterback it's a high volume passing offense. They're going to push the ball down the field, and Hollywood's going to be the number 1 clear target in this offense for the first 6 weeks. And even when Hopkins comes back, I think they complement each other very well. They have different skill sets. I think Hollywood is an excellent combination of upside and a good floor, especially for the first 6 weeks. I'm more than thrilled to have him as my wide receiver 1 in the 4th round.
All right, so after Hollywood Brown goes Jalen Waddle, Darren Waller, DK Metcalf, Deontay Johnson, and back to John.
This is a rough spot here. I was kind of hoping Waller would fall to me, to be honest. There's basically your top 5 tight ends. Everyone else after that you're pretty much just hoping. So I think I'm just going to just reserve to falling down and picking my tight end in the last 2 or 3 rounds now. I have 2 running backs, obviously. Could go another receiver. Receivers on the board here are, again, like they're not suspect, but they're just not really sure which way you want to go. Pittman obviously is a great option. He gets Matt Ryan now as his quarterback, so that offense should be very poised, ready to take off. But I'm going to go someone that I've been wanting to draft, but I just haven't really had the chance to, just based on where my position's been. And being a Jets homer, I get to take my boy Breece Hall. Potentially offensive rookie of the year. I think I've said this before. I think he's going to be more of like a late round or like a late season play, but I think he's still going to be poised to have a really good year, especially with the Jets shoring up their offensive line. After me goes Antonio Gibson, then Travis Etienne, another one who I was torn on, and we're back to K-Mac.
Sniped twice in a row by Team 3. Like Saquon Barkley first, and Etienne there right before my
went
pick.
4 straight running backs.
4 RBs. I was going to say like that 4 RB.
I don't know what Team 3 is doing, but I'm not liking it. All right, so I think I'm getting to the point where I need to draft another running back soon. There's a steep fall off after there. There's a couple wide receivers that I like coming up that I'll be happy if one of them get back to me. So here I'm gonna go take a guy that I personally like. Obviously, he was injured all last year, but he's in a very run-heavy offense, and that's J.K. Dobbins. He's already proven that he's super talented. And oh, did I get timed out? I guess I got Michael Pittman. Okay.
That's the first time out.
When did that happen? This is what happens when you're trying to produce a podcast and draft at the same time. Oh, well,
Pick
Michael
first,
Pittman.
talk after. Man, there's some good options here on this turn. I really like this a lot. I'm not too crazy about most of the running backs here. There's only a couple of guys that went that I really liked. I guess we could go ahead and call this the dead zone. But there's still plenty of options here. And man, I'm gonna go ahead wide receiver here, and I'm actually gonna go Big Mike Williams.
BMW, baby.
Yeah. Happy to get some share of him. Like that guy a lot. He's super explosive, big playmaker. We know that there's going to be a lot of passing coming from Justin Herbert, and it's going to be Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. And usually when you have a wide receiver one that's a few rounds higher, his buddy who's only a few rounds behind is still going to get similar or close to the same amount of targets. The wide receiver two in that group, T. Higgins, similar to Jamar Chase, is in the same situation. But I really like this spot for Mike Williams. And next up, like I said, I'm not really too hot on a lot of these running backs, but man. Yeah, sorry, K-Mac. I'm going to take your guy. I do like J.K. Dobbins, but we hope that he's going to be back in. This is going to be a run-first offense.
I know.
Of course. So
I know.
He's going to get some volume.
I know.
Anything else you want to add to that?
No. All right, this time, man, just throwing everything off, taking two guys that I wanted to pick. I'm angry now. All right, so this next situation reminds me a lot, and I feel it's around the same draft position that it's going, of the whole Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods thing that was happening last year. Remember, Bobby Trees was being drafted before Cooper Kupp in most leagues, usually by about half a round to a round difference. And this year we have the Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton thing, and I'm going to go Sutton here before my time runs out. And, the floor is yours, John.
After you goes Amari Cooper, the player who I actually was targeting in this round. And then Josh Jacobs, the player who I definitely was not targeting. So I'm pretty full on running backs right now for the time being until we get later in the draft. Still a little early for me to go quarterback. There's one that I am targeting a little bit later down the road. I might reach a little bit on him, but we'll see what happens. So I got to go receiver here as there are no good tight ends that I would really go after. Similar to what K-Mac was saying why he took Cortland Sutton. Jerry Jeudy is definitely a good pick here. Chris Godwin is going to play. He's not on the PUP list, so he's ready to go. But we'll see how Julio eats into him. But I think I'm actually going to go another route. And this player, he's been great. Was great last year, and he definitely seems to be developing some chemistry with his new quarterback in Baker Mayfield. I'm actually going to go with DJ Moore. Got a couple touchdowns in practice today, so let's get it. Then after me goes Judy, Hawkinson, Lamar goes as quarterback number 4 off the board. Allen Robinson, someone who also I was considering as well from the Rams. And we are back to Bobby Digital.
Yeah, this is why I like to do mock drafts because I personally feel like I made a mistake in an area. And so I like to do mocks because it sometimes gives you a clear picture of what direction you really want to go with, because I'm looking at wide receiver since I'm already good at running back and a lot of my receivers were taken. But I am going to take the best wide receiver available, and I am going to take Chris Godwin. Like John mentioned, he's on the PUP list. Now, again, with Julio there, we don't know how much he's going to eat into or whatnot, but to me, Godwin's still their guy, along with Evans. They paid him the money. He still has a proven rapport with Tom Brady, and he's still going to be a starter, assuming he's healthy. He's still going to produce for you. And it's in a very pass-heavy offense. It's in a very, obviously, solid system, good quarterback. So I'm going to take Chris Godwin here. After Godwin goes Kyler Murray, Elijah Mitchell, Brandon Cooks, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I'm back on the clock again. I'm also thinking about some decisions to make here, in what direction I want to go in. Looking at the list here, I am going to take. I'm going to take a quarterback here. I'm going to take Russell Wilson. I know it's maybe a little early, but I just feel like we're going to go on a quarterback run in a little bit, and I am very high on Russell Wilson. Similar to K-Mac was mentioning about the values of Judy and Sutton, could be the next Woods and Cup. What was the catalyst for that? It was a QB change. Russell Wilson has been a proven stud QB, who I believe was held back in Seattle for a way too stubbornly conservative scheme. I think in Denver, it's going to be very efficient offense, but I think he has weapons now, and I think they're going to work with him, and he's going to have a really good year. So I'll take Russell Wilson here.
All right, after Russell Wilson goes Joe Burrow, A.J. Dillon, CEH, Miles Sanders. I'm not going to have any running backs by the time it gets back to me. All right, John, you're on the board. I guess I'm going zero RB.
It happens like that sometimes. Well, you're literally going zero RB because you have no running back. You can just trade with Team 3, though. So this is earlier. This is something that I wasn't really planning on doing this, but we're going to go with it. I've been a really big proponent of like drafting your quarterback very, very late because I think the depth is there. But I'm also been a huge proponent of going for a stack, and I'm going to go for a stack with a quarterback who was the number 2 quarterback throughout the majority of the season. That's in Jalen Hurts. Again, like I said, this is normally not where I draft quarterbacks, but again, like I'll take the stack all day, and I think that is going to be a very good stack as well. So give me Jalen Hurts, give me all that. That after is Michael Thomas, Dalton Schultz, and then we're back to K-Mac, who's got a tasty Jason Harris ready to go, or Ken Walker, and we know Chris Carson retired, so Ken Walker might be the pick.
Yeah, I'm actually not going to go with any of them. Oh man, this is tough for me here. Okay, I need to go running back. There's some tempting wide receivers for me right here, but I can't do it. I think I am going to go with Ken Walker, actually. No, I'm just kidding. Man, I'm not like... You see, one little auto draft, one little mistake could throw off your whole draft strategy, and now you're in a loop. You don't know what to do, and, man, I don't love any of these running backs here. I'm gonna go Darnell Mooney. Let's go. I'm gonna be trading. Someone's got to trade with me, right?
Someone would.
I'm always up for a trade. Always up for a trade.
All right, Bobby,
Derrick
we'll
Henry
talk.
for Justin Jefferson, straight up.
Yeah, I'm in the same spot. I'm not really too crazy about most of the running backs that are around here, but don't really know that I'm doing that. I'm gonna go wide receiver here, for sure. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab Juju. Someone came back earlier today that this is hard to decipher who is going to be the true number 1. It's the same case in Green Bay. We think it's going to be Juju on paper, but we've definitely seen some chemistry building between him and Pat Mahomes. So I do think that he's going to be involved in MVS is more your vertical guy, but we know that Juju can basically do it all in the wide receiver position. So I do like him a lot, especially at this turn. It's a pretty good spot for him to be. So I'm going to go ahead and rock with that there. And then I'm going to go another wide receiver, and I'm actually going to pick up Devonta Smith here. It is a little early for me to get him, but this is a guy that I really want. And I'm on the corner, so on the turn, so I have to get the guys that I want. But I do like him a lot. He had a good rookie year. AJ Brown coming in benefits him. He's going to get a little more separation. And I mean, he's a Heisman winning wide receiver. So, I mean, he's a baller. We know that he's capable of having a really good second year and possibly a breakout.
Yeah, so I really want to go Gabe Davis here, but I think it's the point where I need to draft a running back, especially if Kamara's not going to play. But I really want to draft Gabe Davis. I like him so much better than some of these running backs here. But I am going to go a little bit down the list a bit, and I'm going to take Tony Pollard here. I like him as a standalone running back, and we've talked about it ad nauseum here. Especially if Zeke goes down, Tony Pollard is an automatic RB1. Even if he doesn't go out, Tony Pollard is just getting more and more share of the workload, and eventually the Cowboys might just decide that the talent outweighs the money. And Zeke has more carries over the last few years than anybody else in the NFL. So keep that in mind. He has a heavy workload, and shelf lives are not long on running back. So that's why I like Tony Pollard. And if he's going to be my second or first running back at this point, I'd like a guy like him.
Yeah, so after you went Thielen, and I was really hoping to get to Hopkins. I think my team was poised to have Hopkins too, with like two stud receivers. And then I could wait the 6 weeks, I survive, and then get Hopkins back to the final stretch. So I'm going to take a little bit of a reach. I'm going to go Elijah Moore. It's a lot of a reach. But I
Homer.
Yeah, definitely a homer pick. But I think that he's also poised. Like if you look at his stats, he's very comparable with Waddle in how he had in his like yak yards and like his yards per route and everything like that. So they had very comparable stats in less games. So obviously that skews it a little bit. So I think that he's just poised for another big breakout as long as with the Jets got a little more help with getting Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, shoring up the O-line. I think that's again a lot of mouths to feed, but I think he's still a great receiver. After me goes Ken Walker, Dak Prescott, Drake London, Rashad Bateman, and then we're back to Bobby.
Yeah, and I am going to take Gabe Davis for reasons. I think I take him like every draft, but we're all, well, at least I know K-Mac and Butt are high on him for obvious reasons that we've talked about in previous podcasts, and John is too, for reasons that we talked about. I was, hoping he would fall to me in this position. I love the upside that he has. Again, third-year wide receiver in a pass-heavy offense. I'm more than happy to have Gabe Davis because if he hits, that'll help me with my 3 running back early strategy here. After Gabe Davis goes Zach Ertz, Tom Brady, Damian Harris, Kareem Hunt, and it leaves me here again. So again, looking at my team, I'm set at running back. I have Swift, Jaron Jones, Cam Akers. I have my quarterback in Russ. I have Hollywood, Chris Godwin, Gabe Davis, my wide receivers, and I'm still willing to wait on a tight end at this point. I'm not ready to take one. I'm not crazy about the options right now personally. So I'm looking at another wide receiver because I went heavy on running back, and I'm hoping that one of these wide receivers can hit and put my team in a really good spot. And again, I'm seeing the list here, and I don't mind scrolling down because again, if I believe in a guy, I don't really, I'm not scared to take him where I feel like I'd want to take him without losing him, and that's going to be Chris Olave. First of all, Michael Thomas, we still don't know what's going on with him. Chris Olave, we all watched, well, at least I know K-Mac, we were talking, watch film. He just jumps out on the page. The Saints are talking about being more of a pass-heavy offense this year, especially maybe with no Kamara. And he has a chance. Every year there seems to be a rookie receiver that just takes off. He has some upside, and he has a chance to really establish himself as a solid wide receiver in this league. So I'm more than happy to take Olave here in the 8th.
All right, so after Olave goes Garrett Wilson and Treylon Burks, who also, those are 2 guys that could also be those breakout wide receiver potentials. Then we have Cordero Patterson, Ayuk, and back to John.
Yeah, I'm really tempted to take Dallas Goedert here, go for the triple stack, but I just don't know if I trust the Philly volume being just like I just don't trust the passing volume, especially just with so many mouths to feed now. So I'm probably gonna go with a running back here. There's again, I don't like a lot of it, but I think I'm gonna go with a guy who I know, a friend of mine, who I went to school with in Devin Singletary. I loved Motor coming out of school. I wish that he would. I hope he can develop and like become that true bell cow, which they want him to be. So I'll rock with my boy Motor. After me goes Goddard, who I was thinking about, and then Aaron Rodgers, looking like Nicolas Cage, and we are back to K-Mac. K-Mac, what are you thinking here?
All right. Sometimes the stacks just present themselves to you, and you want to be tempted to do it. But honestly, Dawson Knox, I'm not sure if I totally believe in him, especially since so much of like he's just not dependable on a week-to-week basis. And I guess that's better than a lot of these tight ends around here. So I was tempted to take him, but I'm going to go and I think I'm going to take Rashad Penny here. There are rumors that I know that Walker's the exciting name, but Penny's a dependable guy. Chris Carson retired. I need a running back. And is it going to draft him in time? Nope, it's not. Melvin Gordon is another pick. Oh, that's weird.
What? Yo, collusion.
That was weird.
So I hit.
It said Melvin Gordon, right? It definitely said Melvin Gordon, right?
It said Melvin Gordon first. I mean, I'm happy with either of them. Melvin Gordon's another guy I like, but my phone's acting up. This is what happens when you're producing a podcast and drafting at the same time. But yeah, I picked Rashad Penny. I don't know. That was weird because I picked it before the time went out, and I don't know. We don't need to get hung up on this, but I'm definitely not cheating. If so, I'd have J.K. Dobbins. Go pick, bud. Pick.
All right, I'm looking. I got a couple guys that I like here.
Sure you do.
Yeah, so I'm pretty stacked on wide receiver right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably grab a running back. There's plenty of really good options here. I'm gonna go ahead and take Michael Carter if it lets me. I picked him, but probably not. I have Matt Stafford instead.
We're having all kinds of problems today.
Dude, Sleeper is screwed up right now because it's literally on Michael Carter just spinning.
Oof.
Yeah.
It might change then like it did with K-Max, maybe. Hopefully.
I was going to go quarterback. That was not the quarterback I wanted to go, but I'm okay with Matt Stafford. I was going to pick quarterback here.
Oh, wait, it went back to Michael Carter.
Went back to Carter.
All right, perfect. So here's the quarterback I was going to go. I'm going to go ahead and pick it now. There we go.
I love that.
I like Michael Carter. He's still going to be involved. He might not get the volume that Breece Hall is going to be, but he is going to be involved in the pass catching game. Right, John? Am I right there? So, 100%. Yeah, we're not going to see him just fade away into obscurity. I don't care about draft capital or where he's drafted, whatever. Trey Lance, on the other hand, we know he's a starting quarterback now. His ADP is rising. I feel comfortable with the 9th round pick. This is a good spot for him. I'm happy about that.
That's a great pick, I think.
They just came out and said that he is there 100% moving over to him. So he's the bona fide starter.
Great pick.
Yeah, that's a great pick. And then came back going with Dawson Knox. Talked about it a little earlier. He got his stack still. After that went Hunter Renfrow and Tyler Lockett. We're back to me. I have a pretty balanced team, honestly, right now. I feel comfortable where I am. So kind of just going like BPA or players that I want, stuff with necessity. I did kind of react when K-Mac took Melvin Gordon, then he changed it to Rashad Penny somehow because collusion. But I really want Gordon here, just in case anything happens to Javonte. I think it's good just to have both. Not that I would ever start both, but just more so just as a backup plan because like Melvin Gordon has proven like over the years that when he gets a workload, he'll deliver. So if anything were to happen to Javonte, I could have Gordon, and if they both end up popping off, then I could have both of them starting. God forbid.
That is a running back duo that you can start both guys. I think that they're both going to produce. And Gordon took a lot of touchdowns away from Javonte Williams last year. Remember that?
Yep. I used that in a couple leagues. I just vultured the touchdowns. Anyway, after that went Chase Edmonds, Matt Stafford, Mike Gesicki, Chase Claypool, and now we are back to Bobby Digital.
Yeah, so now I feel confident in my wide receiving core. Obviously, I have my quarterback now. So now I'm just looking at, we talked about, some high upside lottery tickets at running back. And to me, there's a lot of options. But I'm going to take Isaiah Spiller. I know the previous episode, Bud talked a lot about him, and I 100% agree. Great offense, and he's really now the second guy in command if something were to happen to Eckler, who is, besides last year, hasn't really stayed healthy for a full season. If he were to get that shot, he could have very high upside there. And so I'll take Isaiah Spiller as a handcuff or as a high upside running back here. After Isaiah Spiller goes James Cook, Christian Kirk, Christian Watson, Robert Woods, and it's myself here on the clock again. I was hoping for Mike Gesicki, but he was picked early, a few picks before me, before my previous pick. So now I'm just going to wait a little bit more on tight end. I have a few guys that are late in mine that I think could do something. So now I'm just kind of looking at best player available. And I'm going to take Michael Gallup from Dallas. Now, I read a report that came out, I think he was today, that he admitted that he may not be ready week 1. But that's okay because, again, Michael Gallup, I'm sold on. The Cowboys invested a lot of money in him. They gave him a good contract. They let Cooper go. They traded him. So actions speak louder than words. Michael Gallup is more than capable of being a very solid wide receiver, and the Cowboys trust him very much. So I can hold him, at least now, especially with Hollywood, the first 6 weeks until he comes back. And I think he's going to be a very solid wide receiver that I can get this late. Sign me up for Gallup.
All right, so after Gallup wants Freiermuth, Derek Carr, who's an absolute steal in the 10th round. Ramondre Stevenson, who it might be the only Patriot I like in fantasy football this year. Alan Lazard, and back to John.
I was really kind of hoping Christian Kirk would fall, but auto draft does wonders to you. Had Julio Jones not signed 2 days ago, I probably would be taking Russell Gage here. Obviously with the news of Chris Godwin too coming back, so I think Gage's ADP is going to be plummeting over the next couple weeks going into the season. Again, so I'm definitely going to go receiver just to kind of keep my team kind of balanced because I'm going to go tight end really late. Of the receivers available, there's no one that I'm like absolutely in love with. MVS is a good pick maybe. Jarvis Landry is a decent pick maybe. But I'm kind of feeling I'm so torn between MVS and Sky Moore. I've been liking the rookies lately, so give me Sky Moore. I don't know if I'll do that in a real draft, but I definitely like it now. After that goes Gage and then Tony, and we're back to K-Mac.
All right, back to me. This is where I think I want to do the final short of my running backs. There's a few guys that I like but don't love. James Robinson has always been one of my guys, and I'm kind of tempted to do it, especially since the injury news is like leaning in the right direction lately. It looks like he's going to be good. But at this point, I think I am going to take, honestly, one of the highest upside handcuffs. I'm going to go Madison here.
Good pick. I like it.
And back to Bud.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my board real quick, seeing where I'm at. Team looks pretty balanced. I could go any direction. Kind of loaded on wide receiver, so I don't know. I might wait. We'll see. I'm going to make a pick here first. I think I'm going to go running back here. I think this is just more a security blanket. I don't think I'm really going to go for any of these other guys, but I'm going to grab Nahim Heinz here, a guy I talked about. We know that he's going to be involved a little bit more. This is just more like I said, a security thing. I do like the handcuff. I believe in handcuffing if possible, or trading for your handcuff running back. You never know what's going to happen. Players get hurt, happens all the time. We don't want that to happen, but definitely I feel comfortable doing that right here. And honestly, I might go another running back. I was thinking about going wide receiver, but there's only a handful of guys I really, truly like. I might get lucky later. But,
Decisions.
A big decision.
This is really great for the podcast, by the way.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead with Jahan Dotson here. He's one of the back-end rookies I really like. I wish I would have gotten Olave, but I think he went just a little too early for me. Like 8th round is high, man. But usually any rookie wide receivers that are within the top 100 ADP wise are usually pretty good, and they're set to exceed that ADP most times than not.
All right, so with my last running back pick, I took a more of a. Honestly, Madison's really just there as trade bait to the Cook owner, or to be there because he's another guy who's an automatic RB1 if Cook goes down. So here I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take a flyer on Algier here, who has the potential to be the RB1 on his team, and to be able to take a guy like that in the 11th round, I'm willing to take a chance on him there.
Yeah, definitely. We all are very high on him for sure. Rojo going after you, then Hunter Henry. We're back to me. I need a tight end. I'll take one eventually. I might just take one later.
Streaming.
Yeah, just stream it. Like I said, if you don't get one of the top three, top four tight ends, I guess top five now. You kind of just tight ends in a relevant position at that point. Yeah, kind of in an awkward spot. Like my team is pretty balanced at this point, outside of not having a tight end. So I think I'm just gonna go with just kind of just like a player that I want more than anything else, a player that I like. And I guess that's just kind of just MVS. Like I'll take a roll on both Kansas City receivers. Whichever one pops off, I got one of them, I guess, right? Um, we'll see. So again, it's a little bit of a reach more than anything else,
Take him
but
soon.
I'll load it up. After that goes Cole Kmet, James Robinson, Jarvis Landry. I don't even know that guy's first name. Damian Pierce, and we're back to Bobby.
Yeah, I'm with John. I'm waiting on tight end too. Just looking at the board, definitely looking at running backs here. And for me, I'm going to take Kenneth Gainwell. I'm actually a big fan of Kenneth Gainwell. I think he's a better running back than Miles Sanders. I think he's more explosive. But again, at this point, we're looking for high upside handcuffs here. And I think Kenny Gainwell, especially in a PPR league, he is a very good pass catcher. I like his value here. So I'm going to take Kenny Gainwell. After him goes Kirk Cousins, Tyler Boyd, Albert O, Jameson Williams, and it's back on the clock for me. I have to take a tight end. And I'm going to take Irv Smith Jr. I'm actually, I guess I don't, but I want to fill out my roster. So I like Irv Smith Jr. I like what they're doing in Minnesota. I like the whole revamp thing and bringing in, an offensive mind now after Zimmer's been gone and the talent that they have there. Irv Smith's the guy right now, a tight end. I think he can have a decent year for a tight end. The only thing I'm concerned about Minnesota is Kirk Cousins. I just think he may have, unfortunately, a little bit of a limitation on all that talent there, but I don't think it's enough to where it's going to hurt his value. So I'll take a flyer on Irv Smith here.
I like it. After that goes Deshaun Watson, Rondale Moore, Rashad White. Sorry, I don't know why I blanked on that. Tua Tagovailoa right before me. Not that I was going to pick him anyway. I need a tight end. Best one available is Noah Fant. I picked him I think I picked him in both of our drafts so far. Pete Carroll said he was one of the best players, best athletes that he had on the team at the moment. I'll take him. Sure, roll the dice. Give me Noah Fant, I guess. Who cares? Tight end. After that goes Justin Fields, Darrell Henderson, and then we're back down to K-Mac. What does K-Mac even need? K-Mac kind of needs whatever he wants more than anything at this point.
Yeah, so if that's the case, I mean, I'm not too high on this guy here, but you never know. He's shown that he's one of the best in the NFL in the past years, and now he's with the greatest quarterback of all time. So why not, with my last pick, take a flyer on Julio Jones?
Not bad. I agree with it. Not bad. See what he turns into, right? Truthfully, don't even know at this point.
A third wide receiver can succeed in that system, and no Gronk. Who knows?
Yeah, like they had 3 wide receivers and a tight end eating in that system.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's definitely mouths to feed. Like it can work.
Guy in one of my leagues last year running Tom Brady, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin last year.
For the last guy here, I'm gonna go another running back. And actually, this is a guy that is probably still gonna see work, even though he has a guy ahead of him, and that'll be Khalil Herbert. When this guy stepped in for the 3 or 4 weeks that David Montgomery wasn't there, he got a lot of scrimmage yards, over 100 per game in most cases. And he's still super young, high energy. I don't really see Montgomery getting the job done. I think we're going to see a lot more Khalil Herbert this season.
All right, so that is our draft. And since I promised to these people here, I am going to keep this show under an hour. Let's keep that in mind. We got about another 15 minutes to have a little chat about this. Maybe we'll wrap up a little bit early too. So, how we like to do things here. Bud, out of these teams here that you've seen, first talk a little bit about your team, how you think it went, and then give us another team that you like how their draft turned out.
So I basically, picking from the one spot, I went JT, and I think once you do that and you get like one of the top running backs, you can go multiple running back and that's fine. But I think you have a little more wiggle room to where you can go ahead and just as long as you get another good guy that's going to get work, then you're okay. You can go ahead and fill your positions. And I kept it kind of balanced. I was like, okay, I'm going to get one of like every position right here off the bat. I'm going to go wide receiver following and then tight end. I'm a pretty big believer on having one of the top five or six tight ends this season. Just locking that position down. So that's why I went with Pitts. I think he's going to get a lot of work. I like my wide receivers. Mike Evans, BMW, Juju, I think has great opportunity. And, Devonta Smith is my wide receiver 4. I'm totally fine with that. And Jahan Dotson just being a flex guy. I'm cool with that too. My running backs, I'd say though, on the back end, so you give and you take. I think I'm a little weak. I better hope that J.K. Dobbins is in fact healthy enough for the season. I do like Michael Carter and I handcuffed, and I'm hoping Herbert gets work. And I like the quarterback too on Trey Lance. It's pretty sweet for me. As far as the teams go, everybody's got a pretty stacked squad. I like a lot of what's going on here. For me, I think it's going to be John this week. I like your team a lot. I like your running backs a lot. I really wanted Singletary, and you sniped him from me. I thought he was going to make it back. But I like Jalen Hurts. I'm huge on him. I think DJ Moore is going to have an incredible season. Dude, you got all these Moores. You have so many Moores on your team.
He's got 3 Moores.
Yeah.
Got 3 of them.
Yeah.
More the merrier, baby.
You can pick up Rondale.
I could, yeah.
You could. But yeah, no, we like the Kansas City wide receivers. I like them a lot. And I like AJ Brown too. I do think that we're going to see a more pass focused Eagles team with a little bit of running peppered in. But that's just me. But I like your team overall. It's not to take anything away from you guys, but I like John's team best.
All right, go ahead, John. Talk about your team and then whatever you want to do.
All right, cool. So I feel like my draft was, I kind of just took what fell to me, especially like the early rounds, like, Derrick Henry falling to pick 5. I really wanted JJ, but again, I'll take Derrick Henry. Javonte Williams, another person who I like falling to me. I think, again, even with Melvin Gordon, I think he's poised for another good bell cow season. He had him and Melvin both had 203 carries last year, so nothing to sneeze at. AJ Brown, Breece Hall, DJ Moore. So I got 2 solid receivers. Breece Hall, a little early for like a rookie with this much hype. Again, like he was the number 1, the first running back drafted this year. But I think he's still going to see a solid workload, and he very well could be the offensive rookie of the year. Then normally I go really late on quarterback, but I went Jalen Hurts just to complete my stack because I knew he was going to fall to me. Then I went a little more like dice rolly later with like Elijah Moore, Devin Singletary, Melvin Gordon, with more players with like higher upside than actually just like going for like solid like BPA type stuff. And then my last 3 picks were kind of just lottery tickets, like Sky Moore, MVS, like who's going to get the workload out of in Kansas City, and then just tight ends are irrelevant. So I just took the best one and happened to be Noah Fant. So shout outs to that. Of the teams, everyone's team else, I think like Bud said, everyone has a pretty solid team. Like everyone kind of took like a different draft strategy as well, which I like. Bud went a little more balanced. K-Mac went kind of 0 RB. I went running back heavy, but I still like went after like what stuff that I wanted, stuff that fell to me. And then Bobby went like very, very RB heavy. So I definitely like that. We all went different strategy. I think I would probably lean Bobby's team slightly over the other 2, just for like he's got a great core, like Deandre Swift, Aaron Jones, Cam Akers. Like that's a pretty stacked first like 3 running backs. Those are 3 set and forget guys. Injuries aside, of course. He did go a little early on some players, namely like Hollywood Brown and Chris Olave. But I still think that his team is pretty solid. So again, like like Bud said, like everyone's team is pretty close, but I do give it to I'll give it to Bobby.
All right, Bobby, the floor is yours.
Yeah. In terms of my team, I'm very happy with that core of running backs, like John was mentioning. I was thinking about going receiver, maybe like a Tyreek Hill there instead of Aaron Jones, but ultimately I'm very happy with it because I'm happy with how the receivers I was able to get. So kind of how I was thinking was after I went those 3 running backs, obviously I don't have to worry about running back for a while, and I was hoping to get receivers that I feel have a strong chance to hit. And so I made my case for Hollywood. Gabe Davis, Chris Olave. I feel as though if at least one of them hit, and we have a lot of mid wide receivers that hit every year. Last year, Debo Samuel, Cooper Kupp. And so if one of them can hit, then I'll feel very confident in my team. I love Russell Wilson. I think he's gonna be really solid this year. And then just basically on my bench, I just was going for like guys like Isaiah Spiller, Kenneth Gainwell, kind of like high upside handcuffs. And Michael Gallup as well. I like that, especially mid-season. I feel like he'll be coming back into form. So I'm pretty happy with my squad. Like everyone was saying, everybody's team I feel is pretty solid. I like what John mentioned about we all go in different draft strategies. That was very interesting. And I like doing mock drafts because you can kind of get a feel for where people go and who maybe you like or don't like and where you can expect to get a guy. But I'm gonna agree with Bud here. I'm gonna take John's team. I really like you going Hurts and AJ Brown stack. I think again if we're talking about Philly, does go pass heavy. I'm a big AJ Brown guy. And I think that Jalen Hurts at this point is a lot better than Ryan Tannehill. And Derrick Henry again too. If Derrick Henry if he's really fully healthy, then obviously we know what he can do. And I like the pick of Javonte. Now, again, with Melvin Gordon, it does hurt his value, but I think Javonte obviously doesn't have standalone value, but he owns the Denver backfield. So if one of them goes down, it's going to elevate that guy. And then I'm really coming around on Breece Hall too. So I'm liking John's team out of everybody's, but again, I think everyone did pretty solid.
Thank you, sir.
I disagree. I think my team went downhill fast after I drafted Michael Pittman. I had to do the best to salvage it. So I think my team is good if Kamara doesn't have a major suspension, and it's going to be a shaky start to the season if he does. However, I did draft a few wide receivers. Obviously, Justin Jefferson, he's a guy that could really take over, and I think that he could be like one of the top fantasy scorers this year. That's why I'm comfortable taking him at the number 2 spot. Michael Pittman, there's a few wide receivers I would have rather taken over him. And as we know, I did try to get J.K. Dobbins there, which would have changed my draft strategy around a little bit. But Pittman, Sutton, Darnell Mooney, they all have that wide receiver 1 potential. I talked about it. Actually, I don't think we've had the chance to talk about it too much on the draft. Bobby and I did a little side mock draft where I talked to him a little bit about why I am high on Darnell Mooney. Without going into too much detail now, this is his job to gain now. Like, he had a really a sneaky impressive season last year, and that is with Allen Robinson there, who we could argue is one of the most underutilized wide receivers in NFL history over there. But either way, Darnell Mooney is posed for a good year. Like, he's got so much going for him. The only question mark is the system and the quarterback. I actually am higher on Fields than a lot of people are. However, it's hard to tell. One positive, no more Matt Nagy. So I think that's a addition by subtraction any way you look at it. Other than that, we've talked about how I'm high on Cortland Sutton. Michael Pittman. I do like Michael Pittman. Don't get me wrong. There are a few people that would have taken over Pittman, but I think I just don't trust Matt Ryan that much to be able to get Pittman the ball. However, I am high on him, just a little high ADP for my liking. As far as the running backs go, I had to take a lot of picks that might rely on a little bit of injury to make them work, and that's with Pollard and Madison. But if Kamara hits and JJ hits, I have pretty much top tier running back, wide receiver, and quarterback. I've been leaning against going early quarterback, although I think these last few mock drafts have kind of leaned in that opposite direction. But Josh Allen's solid, and yeah, I thought the team was okay. I did what I could, but I hate that 2 spot, really. I got to figure out how to draft a team I like out of there. As for the other teams, you know what? Let's make it a sweep. I like John's team. I am a little more hesitant than he was to take Javonte Williams there. I think that he is one of the most talented running backs in the NFL. But I also think that the money they paid Melvin Gordon really makes it feel like they're going to continue a split backfield in some sense. But the fact that he owns that Denver backfield, which I think was a huge move to pick up Melvin Gordon there, I think that is big, and I think that all of those guys can produce there. And I think that both of them are good picks, but just Javonte Williams is going a little high for my liking. But other than that, I think that he had a really solid draft. I really, really am starting to come around on Breece Hall also. I talked about it in the last draft too. Like, he is an absolute stud. And I do like him and Michael Carter. I think that they're the two best running backs in that division. And that's coming from a Dolphins fan. And the rest of his team is just really solid. And showing up those two Kansas City wide receivers, I think that was a great choice as well, coming in late. I think either of those guys could take over. Sky Moore's more the question mark. MVS, again, money talks. They paid him, and he's got Patrick Mahomes throwing to him. But my favorite thing about that team is that Jalen Hurts stack. I do like A.J. Brown. Don't love him just because I'm not 100% sold on where those targets are going to be going to. But as far as Jalen Hurts, he has the QB1 potential, in my opinion, because of his rushing floor and because of the possibility that if he improves even just a little bit in the passing game and has like an A.J. Brown there, which he does, one of the arguably most talented wide receivers in the NFL, I think the sky's the limit for Jalen Hurts, and I think for drafting a guy like him in the 6th round, who I think has that potential to finish as the top QB overall. Not saying that he will, but I think he's one of those guys that has the potential for. Yeah, I absolutely love John's team.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I like the way how it fell to me. I was very happy with it. Again, there was a couple things like Javonte. I knew Javonte was early when I take him, but I also knew that he was going to fall to me. But I didn't want to. There was no one really in that area that I wanted to take, like ADP wise or like BPA. So I kind of was like, you know what, I'll take this reach here. Like we always talk about it. Like at the end of the day, like you want to take the players that you want. Like you want to get your guys. So like you have to like calculate like is the risk of going early and leaving a couple players on the board. Like, is it worth it? Like, am I okay leaving Deebo Samuel, Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara on the board? Yeah, I'm kind of okay with that. Would I be okay leaving like a Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Travis Kelce on the board? Probably not. So like you got to, there's like a push and pull to it, and I kind of felt like I navigated that well, at least in the early rounds, and then I was able, and then like the way how I set myself up after the first 5 rounds, I felt like I was poised to take like who I wanted to when I wanted to. But it was like I enjoyed this draft. I felt like my team came together really well early on, and I was able to like dictate that pace.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that about wraps us up for today. We managed to keep it under an hour. That's awesome. All right, let's go around the horn one last time. Bud, do you have any last words to our listeners or viewers, whatever you're consuming our podcast on right now?
Just, happy drafting. Get in there on the mocks, check your rankings, see where players are falling. ADPs are up and down depending on what's happening in camp. You got to know where guys are going. So keep an eye on it and stay mocking.
All right, Bobby.
Yeah, similar to what Bud was saying, the season's kind of started now with training camp. It's kind of like the stock market. Now we're going to see players' values go up, some go down, injuries, rumors coming out for camp. Coach is going to come out and say, we're going to use this guy here, whatever. So now you just kind of start paying attention. It's just like you're going to see guys rise and fall from now until main draft season towards the end of August. They're going to be ADPs going all over the place. So just keep in tune with everything. And yeah, like Bud said, I think there's a lot of benefits to mock drafting.
John?
Mock a day keeps the L's away. Get in there, guys. Do the work.
Or 15 mocks a day, depending on who you are or what you do.
Depending on who you are. The guy right above me.
I think he's talking about you, Bobby.
I know.
All right, guys. Well, once again, I appreciate you making it this far, listening to our podcast. If you want to join in on our next mock draft, feel free to let us know. And please follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, all the likes. And check us out. We are on YouTube. During the season, we are going to be going live on Twitch every Sunday before the big game. So I'm excited to get back to answering your fantasy questions. I'm excited to be drafting again. And we are so close to preseason football, even if it's Trevor Lawrence. But it's the Jaguars. It's still football. I'm excited. Hall of Fame game coming up. And yeah, that's our show. So please follow us, subscribe to whatever platform you're listening to. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and check us out on the next one. Happy Mock Draft Monday.